Good morning. Happy New Year to you all. I'm Karen Christie, today's service associate. I'm here with Reverend Tim Barger, our senior minister. Ginny Gottman, our director of lifelong learning, will tell today's story. Jeffrey Maxey, our music director, is at the piano today, and the First Unitarian Choir is here too. Today's tech crew is led by producer Walter McGee, who is not able to be here today. Jeff Slauson, our congregation's treasurer, is the director and camera operator, and David Strickler, who is our commissioned lay minister, is at the soundboard. We have many more volunteers helping too, with greeters in the lobby, religious education helpers helping with today's RE activities, and we have a crew preparing for coffee hour led by Carla Logan Mercer, our kitchen committee coordinator. The only doctrine of our church is love, the power that holds us together and is at the center of our shared values. We welcome everyone as we sang in our opening song. If you are a visitor, you may notice in the pew rack in front of you a yellow card that helps us to know that we have new seekers here, so please fill that out. We also welcome you who are joining us on the Toledo Unitarians YouTube channel, and we hope this time serves your spirit.
Like a bell through the night, and would you love to love her? Take to the sky like a bird in a flight, and who would be a lover? All your life you'd never seen a woman taken by the wind. Would you stay if she promised you heaven? Will you ever win? She is like a cat in the dark, and then she is the darkness. She rules her life like a fine skylark, and when the sky is scarlet, all your life you've never seen a woman taken by the wind. Would you stay if she promised you heaven? Will you ever win? Will you ever win? Taken by the sky, taken by the sky. Dreams unwind, love's a state of mind. Dreams unwind, love's a state of mind. Dreams unwind, love's a state of mind.
Hi, I'm Reverend Tim, and let me add to Karen's welcome. The flame of the chalice that we light in our gatherings symbolizes courage and illumination and honors our search for truth and meaning. Let's all say the words for chalice lighting together. They're on the screen and in our order of service as Karen lights the flame. Our chalice has the spirit of Unitarian Universalism. We light it centered in love. May it glow with sacredness and shine for each and for all. And let's continue reciting together with Karen leading us in the covenant of our congregation. This is not a creed, but what we share with general agreement.
Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Now please join in for some congregational singing, hymn number 1028 in the teal hymnal, The Fire of Commitment. For you who are willing and able, please stand.
Good morning. Can everybody hear me? All right, I would like to invite my younger friends to come forward to hear and see the story, if they would like to come up here. Thank you, Reverend Tim. You hate what? Big tall. Hi, so many friends here today. I'm super excited. All right, today we are going to talk about something called banned books. Have you guys heard that term? Can anybody tell me what it means for a book to be banned? Does anybody know?
For a book to never be able to be read?
It's when people try to keep a book out of a library. That's what it means. Usually in our country, that's the method of banning books. And specifically, people are usually talking about keeping books out of school libraries and away from kids. Sometimes there are books that have grown-up issues like a lot of fighting or bad words or sex or scary dudes in wigs and clown makeup. And that's not totally unreasonable. There are some books that are just for grown-ups to read and not for kids. But oftentimes, books are banned for other reasons, not because they are bad for kids to read. Sometimes books are banned, or people try to ban them, because those books make us think about things that are tricky, or difficult, or complicated, and those things are important things to think about. Have any of you guys ever read a banned book that you know of? Got a few hands here, yeah. If you have read The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, or A Wrinkle in Time, or Where the Wild Things Are, those are books that have been the subject of book bans. And those books are not about grown-up subjects at all. They're about things like science and nature and religion, and imagination, and good versus evil. And those are all subjects that it's really important for kids to think about. My tweens and teens, I'm sure you've heard the term critical thinking. Have you ever heard people talk about that? Critical thinking means that you don't just accept and believe everything you hear, or you don't just accept and believe everything you read. And banned books help us develop our critical thinking skills. If we read a book like A Wrinkle in Time, we think about things like, do I like this view of the world? Does it make sense to me? Does it go against anything I already believe? Could I be wrong? What are the differences between science and magic and religion, and where does one end and the others begin? Could I really convert my garage into a chemistry lab? Those things are all critical thinking. The reason that people want to ban books is because there is something in that book that they don't want us to think about. They want to make critical thinking very difficult for kids. If they want to ban a book, there's some idea in that book that they want us to just accept without thinking about. And that book will make us think about it. That thing could be something about God and science and nature, or what makes a family, or injustice, or how we all have more power when we band together, and may the odds be ever in our favor. So when you hear about a book that people want to ban, find out what that book is about and talk to your grown-ups about it. It is possible that it's a book about bad words or scary dudes in clown makeup. And if it's that, then that's fine. You can read it when you're older. Why do scary clowns keep coming up as a topic? I don't know. They are immortal and eternal. So if this book is something with grown-up themes, if this book is about something with grown-up themes, like the sex or fighting or bad words, then you can read that book when you're older, that's fine. But if it's a book about siding with love, or about fighting injustice, or about being brave even when people are telling you that you're wrong, then it might be time for you to take a trip to the library. Because the fact that people want to ban that book probably means that it's worth reading. All right, who is ready to go to class? Everybody. Yay! Maddox.
In this first of 3 intentional times of spiritual practice in our Sunday gatherings, we look beyond ourselves, considering celebrations and sorrows and the state of things. Join me for a time of having our spirit open to what is beyond ourselves. It's a new year, and we hope it will be a good one. However, the United States government, on orders of the president, meddling in Venezuela doesn't seem the best way to start peacefully. Venezuela has not been paradise under Maduro. We know that, with a Venezuelan dissident having won the Nobel Peace Prize this year. But U.S. meddling has not been called for. Then there's the U.S. continuing not to commit to Ukrainian freedom and being too friendly with Russia. Is this a president's move to have wartime elections in November? Please, as best you can, live peacefully and live for peace. In more general aspects of living into the new year, be open to what appeals, but be reasonable about how to approach your own change. In these pastoral words for spiritual practice, please hear the call for kindness, compassion, and personal peace. There are people in our circles who, with their family and friends, have challenges of life and death. People in our circles also have challenges of health and illness. We have times of being at home and traveling, knowing financial security and anxiety-laden monetary stress. Decisions are being made by ourselves and by others on how we can live our best lives, which sometimes means aspiring to that, not having an easy way to get from here to there, and realizing we have moves yet to make to reach aims and goals. And individual and family ways go on, with new lives born and many other joys and celebrations. We all have bad days and good. May kindness and gentleness be with us. May we be compassionate to all, as we don't know what other people are going through, so treat one another well. And may we be glad for their celebrations and ours. Let's continue to have First Unitarian be a place of welcome, of grace, even of refuge from hard times. And that in this liberal religious community, we can help one another, care for ourselves, and have our part in changing the world. Let's look for and take part in the good wherever we can find it. Please share mercy and dignity, and remember to breathe. That natural action can be spiritual. One reason we join in religious gatherings is to realize common links. We know that the uncommon is here too. Let's be together in faith, hope, and love. Amen. for our spiritual practice of meditation, contemplation, and prayer, let's turn inward. I bring words by Mary Sheldon. We'll follow the reading with 1 minute of silence, only hearing the sounds around us. And then we'll sing together number 403, Spirit of Truth, of Life, of Power. We cannot know what all the year may bring. And would we heed the prophecy if we could? Bright flame, awake. Send forth your shining light beyond this year into the many coming. Show us the ways of love and of help and care, of justice, mercy, and equality. Illuminate unto the generations. Show to the world a beacon of safe harbor. Help us to find the kindred warmth within us and among us to help make it so. 1 minute of silence.
The reading for today is It Matters by Robert Walsh. I knew a man who had printed on his stationery this proverb: nothing is settled, everything matters. It established a certain ambience for reading his letters, as if to say, what you are about to read is to be taken seriously, but is not final. I remember him and his proverbs sometimes, especially when it seems impossible to change the world or myself in any significant way. Times like the beginnings of New Year's. Sorry, Jim, I say, it's not true that nothing is settled. In the past year, choices have been made, losses have been suffered, there has been growth and decay, there have been commitments and betrayals. None of that can be undone. A year ago, no one knew whether during this year one person would become pregnant, another would get cancer, another would take a new job, another would have an accident, but now it is settled. One day this year, I was present just when someone needed me. Another day, I was busy doing something else when I was needed. One day, I said something to a friend that injured our relationship. Another day, I said something that enabled a person to see life in a new way. The best and the worst of these days is now written. All my tears of joy and sorrow cannot erase it. If I stay with my meditation long enough, the reply comes. Robbie, says Jim, you have misunderstood the proverb. It is true that you cannot escape the consequences of your actions or the chances of the world. But what is not settled is how the story turns out. What is not settled is what the meaning of your life will be. The meaning of your life is not contained within one act, or one day, or 1 year. As long as you are alive, the story of your life is being told, and the meaning is still open. As long as there is life in the world, the story of the world is still being told. What is done, but nothing is settled. And if nothing is settled, then everything matters. Every choice, every act in the new year matters. Every word, every deed is making the meaning of your life and telling the story of the world. Everything matters in the year coming, and more importantly, everything matters today.
Do you wonder what a new year has for us? Not that I believe in predictions, but I like to see them. Some people seem to have more of the pulse of the universe than I do, but they don't actually have the health of the world at their fingertips. I don't mean the informed insight based on a person's knowledge of recent history and awareness of what's to come. Those predictions can be too particular, too depressing, too practical, too whatever, too safe maybe, not having enough outrage or intrigue for the entertainment purposes I like to see in published predictions. So remove the author's insight. I figure that in some way the general predictions, like you read in newspaper and magazine horoscopes, can indicate things about life. But I think it's more because of human habits and not because the stars say so. If you read a prediction or follow a horoscope, and it has words that seem to help you, whether to give you a feeling of support or to make you think more deeply about how you move through life or make a particular decision, more power to that. Even a hunch can be something to pay attention to, but also realize that a hunch has little to back it up. So it's on you if you put too much into that as guidance. If you've seen me with following hunches, the last two sentences are likely, I had this feeling. It didn't work out. Something about being human, our thinking, is that we can look for help in many areas. And sometimes that has an effect. If old farmers' tales were completely bunk, they wouldn't persist. We know of people who turn to sacred scripture for that seemingly random guidance, and sometimes any help is welcome. Don't be looking at the moon for a particular shade of red to tell you that the world as you know it is changing or ending. We humans don't always like to make decisions, and collecting information from anywhere can help us to decide or delay, can't it? And we've probably all done poorly and had to answer the question, who told you that? What were you thinking? And don't depend on any one guide, whether it's an astrologer, your senior minister, or your spouse. Sorry. I'm honored to be one source of information and possible advice for you if you ask for it, but I shouldn't be the only guide. Through life, you develop trusts and awareness of whom you can depend on, but you're still the person best in control of your life, as much as that can be controlled, for we're dependent on so much of the earth, its beings, its life, just for us to make it from one day to the next. It's probably a drawback on my part, but I don't put credence in the movement of the other planets in our solar system or of stars beyond it having an effect on my day-to-day life as one of more than 8 billion people on this planet that is seemingly the only one that has life as we recognize life. We are part of the universe, though. We know that the moon has an effect on the earth, from tides to people's bodies. Gray days when the sun is obscured by clouds can have an effect on my personality, I know, and a sunny, clear, blue sky day can make it easier for me to have a good outlook that day. The news, the weather, even sports can temper my actions, my moods, my outlook, without my watching the 6 p.m. local reports on television. Even so, sometimes I'm eager to hear what they will say, even if I don't intend to believe it or follow the advice. So, what are some predictions for 2026? Astrologer Rada Weigel in the New York Post had a January 1st story on the predictions of Nostradamus. You might know that somehow his general forecast of the future in a book that was published in 1555 is annually applied as if he's still at his desk with knowledge of the world in which we live today. Rita Weigel wrote, Michel de Nostradamus was a 16th century astrologer, doctor, enemy of the church, and bearded soothsayer who has been credited with foretelling the Great Fire of London, Hitler's rise to power, the 9/11 attacks, the COVID-19 pandemic, the deaths of Queen Elizabeth II and Pope Francis, and the powerful earthquake that rocked Japan on New Year's Day 2024, to name a few. Known as the prophet of doom, she continues, Nostradamus' decidedly dark worldview was shaped by a steady diet of Old Testament brimstone and the trauma of losing his wife and young children to plague. Unable to cure the ones he loved most, it seems he set out to forewarn the rest of us through his revelations of ruin. Nostradamus never explicitly wrote predictions for the year 2026, Weigel noted. However, she added, true believers in the bat something, the Post said, look to quatrains numbered 26 to see what disasters lie ahead. According to the 26th verse of Century 1, the great man will be struck down in the day by a thunderbolt. We could interpret this line as the assassination of a prominent male figure, she writes, not giving anything qualitative on what makes a man great, or perhaps a political coup that rocks a political regime. Thunderstruck indeed, she adds a bit snidely, as if politics doesn't have this effect somewhat commonly. Weigel notes that in quatrain 726, Nostradamus gets nautical, writing, foists and galleys around 7 ships, a mortal war will be let loose. For the non-seafaring among us, foists are lightweight sailing ships, and galleys are ships propelled by oars. This prediction seems to reference a naval melee. Experts suspect the war in question will involve China, which has laid a controversial claim to vast expanses of ocean off its southern coast. China, Taiwan, Vietnam, Malaysia, Brunei, Indonesia, and the Philippines have overlapping claims to these islands, reefs, and waters, making for a collection of 7 countries, or if you're the poetic sort, ships, primed for coastal conflict. Or, this is how flexible predictions can be, and Weigel didn't note this. Some people will probably look at the events yesterday in Venezuela and say that Nostradamus had predicted the United States invasion as a thunderbolt striking down Nicolas Maduro, and with him being moved to a ship before being flown to the U.S., along with so many boats sunk by the U.S. and more than 100 people killed in those supposed narco-trafficking incidents, that the U.S. in Venezuela is becoming a mortal war. Please, let's not have that happen, whether as prediction or in real life. It's hard to be people of peace in the United States today. In the end, live your life. If you're a curious person and want to seek out what others predict, do so. But keep grounded too. Don't abandon reality because a person, the stars, or a particular body ache tells you to act outside of your own ways. Make resolutions to live better, if those help. And as I say every year, if you make a New Year's resolution, then break it but it seemed to be helpful, it's not the end of the world. Restart it immediately or at a ceremonial time, but don't just abandon it because you didn't keep your resolution in the way you had hoped. You've heard me say this before. However you might imagine living better in the new year, you can always start again. You don't have to wait for a particular day to begin. And remember that life doesn't always cooperate. So be flexible and forgiving to yourself. Still, though, put being a better you out there. What I say is be good to yourself, be good to others, and do what you can to be at peace in your own self, with others, especially your loved ones, and in the world. Nothing is settled. Everything matters. So be it, and blessed be.
Thank you, Reverend Tim. At this time, for the offering, we will pass the baskets here in the sanctuary. All of you, including our YouTube viewers, can also donate electronically or by mail. Thank you for being generous and for helping Unitarian Universalism thrive in Toledo. Now for more congregational singing, let's sing number 16, "'Tis a Gift to Be Simple," number 16.
Good morning. Happy New Year. My name is Krista Schneider, and I am the president of the First Unitarian Church of Toledo for another 18 months. All the gods or no gods willing. Anyway, New Year's is, I think, a really important time, actually, and I think the theme of this service today kind of underscores that it is an important time that we stop what we're doing for a minute. Breathe. Let's all breathe for a second, please. Breathe. Feels good. And take stock. And I don't mean like Wall Street stock or cattle. I mean, let's take an inventory. And I think you're like, okay, well, why is she up here talking to us about this? Because I think it's important that we stop and we take stock and an inventory about how the church here interacts with our lives and how we interact with the life of the church and how we might find ways where we could do things a little differently, a little better. Maybe there's something we're not crazy about that needs tweaking. I like to take New Year's and take stock of myself. This year, I stopped and I thought, what's really important is that I start to express myself more. Then I make sure people understand that I have opinions too. And they should be heard. And so I told my husband that this was my resolution this year. And he is not a religious man, but he did invoke the Lord's name. And he walked out of the room. Which made me think, well, okay, well, maybe I can't be trusted to just take stock on my own. Maybe it'd be helpful to have others' opinions as well. And so, like, as church board leader, maybe I don't just get to take stock and make all the changes and stuff myself. Maybe we should get some input from y'all. Which is why we're going to roll out next week a survey for you all to fill out. The idea is to figure out how we as a church, and I don't mean top down, I mean we as a community church working together to better nourish ourselves both spiritually, socially, intellectually, ethically, communally, and just nourish ourselves and do a better job helping each other navigate this crazy world we're living in right now, because it is nuts out there. So we're going to ask you some questions about how we can improve governance, so you make sure you have an idea of what's happening in the governance, that it's truly democracy, that people know what's going on, the communication, ministerially, what kinds of things would you like to hear from the minister, how we can do that a little, differently or the same, or just make it awesomer. The staff, the music, like I was thinking a punk rock band would be really great. Again, Jeffrey invoked the name of the Lord and walked out of the room when I suggested this. Our RE is thriving. The kids aren't in here. I wish they were, though, because did you know it's Reverend Tim's birthday today? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Happy birthday. If the kids were here, Reverend Tim just turned 68, which means he was 67, and when you say 67 in front of kids, they go crazy. It's awesome. They start juggling and dancing and everything. And it's really positive. I love it. And we want this survey to be positive. This is a time when you can think positively about how to make this church thrive and better, and it's so positive to see all of you guys. So please stay positive when you're filling it out. If you have an impulse to be negative, I'm going to tell you one more story, because one of my other resolutions was never let service end on time. And this is a little lesson I learned about staying positive. So in my family, we do a white elephant thing for Christmas. You can pick your thing, you don't know what it is, you unwrap it, and then someone could steal it. I unwrapped this game. It was called Twerk Pong. And basically, there's like a basket on your back and then your opponent's back, and it's filled with little like felt balls, and whoever jiggles the balls out of their basket first wins. If you don't know what twerking is, I can demonstrate if you'd like. but it's basically wiggling a lot. And I was super excited to get this game, and then no one even stole it from me, which was awesome. But it's January the 4th, and nobody will play that game with me. So I was feeling really negative about this, and I started to write a really nasty email to my family. But my son, who's much kinder than I am, grabbed my arm. He said, "Stop, Mom. Think about a better way to do this. Think about a positive way to say this. Maybe next year, we'll have a different kind of game for Christmas. Think about something you could suggest. Maybe instead of twerk bingo or twerk pong, we'll do something different." And I thought, all right, I love you. And then I asked him to play with me, and he said no. Please look forward to the survey. We're going to get it out to you. It's going to be open-ended. Just any of your thoughts and ideas will be appreciated. If at any point during the year, you have something you want to say and there's not an official survey, please just come to me or someone on the board or Reverend Tim or even Jeffrey. But if it's about punk rock, maybe Jeffrey's not the best one to go to. Thank you.
Thank you, Krista. And let me say, my 7-year-old grandson, Milo, was very much into my being 67. My new granddaughter, Indira, knows nothing about it because she was born on the 1st of January. And now, let's move along. It's the coming soon part of our gathering, where we tell you what's scheduled for next Sunday, we give some announcements, and we also let you know what's up for right after we leave the sanctuary. Next Sunday, join us for Spiritual Forum in Fellowship Hall at 9:45 a.m. for Ask the Minister. Yes, it's another of the quarterly Spiritual Forum meetings in which I'm the resource, open to your questions about Unitarian Universalism, my ministry, personal items within reason, and possibly other things you might be curious about and are at Ask the Minister, so why not put the question forward? 9:45 next Sunday.
For the 11 a.m. gathering next Sunday, Reverend Tim will speak on abolition, still needed. Abolition didn't go away with the Emancipation Proclamation. Forced servitude, slavery, is still existent in the world. Abolition is an issue for Unitarian Universalists brought to us as a statement of conscience at last year's General Assembly.
And it's time for Mystery Friends. It's been a few years since we've had this program linking kids in our religious education program with churchgoers in our congregation, giving a one-to-one correspondence. The child won't know the identity of their mystery friend, but in a pen pal kind of way, the two of you can develop a church-friend relationship. There are more details, of course, but this is the premise. If you would like to participate, please let our Director of Lifelong Learning, Jenny Gottman, know by today, the 4th of January.
The next First Thursday discussion, a lunchtime series of social justice and community topics for which our church is a sponsor through our Unitarian Action Group, continues this coming Thursday at Monroe Street United Methodist Church, 3613 Monroe Street. Our friend Reverend Larry Clark will be speaking on Christian nationalism. What is it, and should I be concerned? To attend, the cost is $15, including lunch, or $5 if you don't want to eat.
And something special is coming up here on Saturday, January 24th, from 4 to 7. Our Snowball, a dance with tunes supplied by a DJ. Suggested dress is semi-formal. There's a $5 admission fee, which includes food and most drinks. Tickets for beer and wine will be an extra charge. There's also a need for volunteers, including someone to put together a raffle basket. For more information or to volunteer, see Amelia Bickerstaff.
The final coming soon entry is for me to invite you to join us in Fellowship Hall after today's service for coffee, conversation, and social time.
And now let's have one more observance of spiritual practice. We have gone beyond ourselves with a pastoral time, turned within for meditation, contemplation, and prayer. And now, recognizing the Buddhist thread in our congregation, we will share a time of metta, having for and sending to all beings love, kindness, and compassion. We also have pagans here, so we will follow that with the Wiccan Rede. Let's recite those together. May I, may we, and may all beings be well, be happy, be peaceful, be safe, awaken to the light of our true nature, and be free. And ye harm none, do what ye will. And now please join me in saying the words on the screen while Karen extinguishes the chalice. We send the flame from our Unitarian Universalist chalice with the love on which we center everything to fire up the world and spread equity, generosity, interdependence, justice, pluralism, and transformation. Go in peace, holding, knowing, and centering love in your lives and sharing love in your actions. Merry meet, merry part, and blessed be.